Tim Kurkjian, always Friday morning, 10:30 here on Big Board Sports, as we also partner up with this segment with the National Baseball Hall of Fame and Museum in Cooperstown, New York. And Tim, of course, does a phenomenal job with ESPN. We see him all the time, and you listen to him all the time here at 10:30 on Friday mornings on 104.5 at Team ESPN Radio in Albany. Tim, Roger Weiland, Chris Honorado, good morning.
How are you, fellas?
We're hanging in there, Tim. How about you? Everything good?
Yeah, I just got back from San Juan. Great trip to see what baseball is like again in Puerto Rico and how that country is recovering. It was a fascinating experience. And then on Wednesday night, we got a 16-inning game.
Right.
So we got our full share of baseball in Puerto Rico.
Were you impressed when you were there, Tim, overall?
Oh, I loved it. I've been there before, of course, but I haven't been there since Hurricane Maria, and I was just dazzled by the upbeat, positive way of the people of Puerto Rico and how much they love the game. I can't tell you how many older people came up to me, my age and older, and just wanted to tell me about the history of baseball in Puerto Rico. You know, Frank Robinson used to manage here. Earl Weaver used to manage here, and their love of the game was so unmistakable, and then they got such a treat from Francisco Lindor in Game 1 with that dramatic home run in the fifth inning, tremendous tour of the bases, and then Jose Barrios, 7 scoreless innings on Wednesday night. It was just a great, great celebration of baseball in Puerto Rico.
All right, Tim, let's get to some regionals here, and we thought it would be a big start for Matt Harvey last night, and once again, not so great. Went 6, but gave up a lot of runs. Very shaky early, settled down a little bit late in the 5th and 6th, and then was pulled. And now the discussion is, does he fall out of that starting rotation? What do you think?
Well, it's certainly possible because Mickey Callaway, the manager, could not commit to him making his next start. And you guys saw the footage when they asked him after the game about going to the bullpen, and he basically said, I'm a starting pitcher. And then they talked to him about going to the minor leagues, and he said, no, I can't answer that question. And I understand the predicament that he's in. I understand it's only a start this year, but he's going to have to do whatever it takes to get his game turned around. And all sorts of really good pitchers in history, including Cliff Lee, have gone to the minor leagues and got things fixed. Others gone to the bullpen to get things fixed, and that might be what has to happen with Matt Harvey.
Tim, the Red Sox have baseball's best record, of course, after sweeping the Angels, 16-2 for Boston. And we've talked a little bit about this show on, when J.D. Martinez really starts to hit, they're going to be an incredible team and obviously an incredible offense. Martinez is hitting, and the Red Sox sweep L.A. Are you surprised in any way at this start, maybe even just beyond the record itself?
Yeah, I can't believe they're this good. They've outscored their opponents by 66 runs already. That's the second largest run differential by any team after 18 games since 1920. Their starters' ERA is under 2. Their bullpen hasn't given up a run in 14 innings, and they're the best offense in baseball. The last team that started 16-2 was the 87 Brewers. It's been a long time, and it's just a devastating offensive team right now, led by Mookie Betts, who is just on fire.
So they clearly are the best team in that American League East right now. The Yankees are at 9-8. Are you one of those that agrees that it is still too early to start getting crazy about the separation between a couple of teams? We're only in the month of April.
Yes, this is way too early. I mean, the Red Sox can't be this good. They can't keep this up. Nobody is that good. And the Yankees have stumbled, and all sorts of things have gone wrong, so they're going to get way better than this. I mean, Giancarlo Stanton's going to start to hit at home eventually. He was 3 for 35 with 20 strikeouts in his first 8 home games. Nobody has ever struck out 20 times in their first 8 home games of any season in history. That's just the way it works. And that's going to turn. The Yankees are going to be good. The Red Sox are going to be good. And they're both going to the playoffs. It's too early to think any other way.
Tim, your weekly pitcher pop-up update. The Brewers had a pitcher pop-up caught, and it got them out of a bases-loaded jam against the Mets, which I think proves miracles do happen. But I want to ask you, because you see a lot more baseball than I do, it just feels to me like more pitchers are issuing walks these days. I don't know if I'm just noticing it more or if it's actually somewhere a statistical fact, but we saw David Robertson create a mess for himself in the 8th inning last night. The Braves blew a 10-4 lead in Chicago because nobody could throw the ball over the plate about a week ago. Is this something you're noticing more, or am I just for some strange reason hooked onto this?
Well, I don't know if the walk rate is up, but I do know this. It's freezing cold out there. And Rick Sutcliffe was telling me the other day that when it's this cold, you can't get a grip, you can't throw your curveball, you can't throw it where you want. So therefore, logically, pitchers trying to find command, it's hard to do when your hand is freezing and you're trying to grip the baseball properly. But the bigger picture, I believe, is basically what Joe Torre told me on opening day this year. And he wasn't even being critical. He said, back when I played, pitchers wanted you to hit the ball. They wanted you to. And now that simply is not the case. Now they're trying to strike you out. Now they're trying to make sure you don't hit the ball, because if you center it, it might go out of the ballpark. That's just how it works these days. So maybe that's part of it, is that pitchers are saying, hey, I don't want to put the ball in play. Our hitters are too big and too strong.
Hey, one more for me, Tim, on the Yankees, and we keep hearing Gleyber Torres, let's get him. Is it time? I mean, a 21-year-old Gleyber Torres maybe could be a little bit of a spark to a Yankee team right now that has 18 errors on the season.
Yeah, it's going to happen, and it's going to happen sooner rather than later, and they shouldn't need a kid to come up and spark them when they have a team like they have and a lineup that they have. But he could be a perfect addition, but he's got to swing it well down there. He's got to get the right service time, so when they bring him up, it's the right time in every way. They don't want to rush him up and say, hey, we need you to come up and carry the team. That's not the best way to do it with a young player, but I don't think there's any way around it. The talent is just undeniable, and he's going to be a terrific major league player, probably soon after he gets there.
Tim, we've all heard stories about how good of a pickup basketball player you are, and so I want to ask you about the mask Joel Embiid was wearing while scoring 23 points for the Sixers last night in his return after an eye bone fracture. What is the strangest thing you've ever seen on a baseball player? Can you think of anything aside from the C look to a batting helmet, or before Bonds was wearing that big elbow brace?
Well, first off, about basketball, I'm 5'4" and I'm 61 years old, so let's leave that alone. That is a terrible combination, I can tell you that. Second thing, I'm so old, I saw the White Sox when they used to play in short pants. Back in the early 80s, late 70s, the White Sox wore shorts for major league games, and they'd wear their stirrups all the way up to their knees and their shorts just above the knees. It was just about the dumbest look you can ever see, and that was the entire team was wearing them.
Oh boy! Well, hey, listen, don't let age get in the way, man. I know you can. I know you can get it done on the basketball court, Timmy.
Believe me, I have lost 10 steps, not one.
Well, listen, we appreciate, as always, your time here on the Friday show, sponsored by the National Baseball Hall of Fame and Museum and our good friend Jeff Idelson over in Cooperstown. And we'll do it again this time next week, Timmy.
Okay, guys. Talk to you next week.
You got it. Take care. It's Tim Kurkjian with us here on Big Board Sports every Friday, 10:30 on 104.5 at Team ESPN Radio.